Hello everyone, welcome to another practice lecture. In this lecture, we'll be looking into the design standards of HTML files using HTML semantic elements. And also, we'll explore the structure of other web pages using the developer tools or web inspector option, which is available in all web browsers. So this lecture is mostly concentrated on the structure, and there will not be any output for this particular lecture. So we will be structuring our web pages using semantic elements. Okay. So here is the sample structure, so which we are following from the start. So we are having a document type declaration, and we are having head tag, body tag, and inside head we are having title. So in the head, like, we'll be having the meta content, so metadata content, and in the body we will be having a page content. The main content goes inside body. So this we are already knew this. Now let's see how to structure our web page using the semantic elements. So basically we can create a web page without semantic elements also. But what is the use of the semantic elements? So if you are creating your web page using basic HTML tags, your web content is not understood in a clear way. So basically developers might not be able to read your HTML code in a proper way, and the same goes with your search engines as well. So in order to better understand your page content, your content of a web page, so if you use most appropriate HTML tags, that will be interpreting your content, and that will be giving your web page in the search results of the search engines. So in that case, this semantic elements comes handy if you want to get that functionality. Like, if you want to get your web page shown in your search engine results, so you need to use this semantic elements so that that will be shown in an appropriate way. Okay, so let's go ahead and structure our web page using the semantic elements. So we have already seen some of the semantic elements in the theory lecture, and in this lecture we will be implementing those. Okay, now, so firstly, every web page has this header, like, which contains this logo, search bars, and the global navigation links and all. So all these are acting like a global header for your web page. So in order to communicate that it is a global header, you have to use a semantic element called header. So inside this header, you will be wrapping your logo and your search bar. If you are having global search bar, I can say, so global search bar of your web page. And if you are having a global navigation, so that you can include that in the header, so that it will be interpreted like a global header when your web page is being rendered. So this is how we clearly communicate that this is my global header. If you are not using this header tag, and if you simply use a section or some div containers, so that is not clearly communicating the meaning that it is a global header. So that is the reason we take help of this HTML semantic element called header, and we clearly communicate that it is a global header. Okay, now after having a header, we will be having a main content, so where our entire data will be displayed. So that main content can be wrapped with main semantic element. So this is a unique content, and also there will be only one main content. So this will act similar to body, but this will be wrapping the entire content, the main content of your web page. So whenever a search engine wants to understand what is the main functionality of your web page, so it can search for the main semantic elements, and it will try to interpret the data inside your main semantic element. So in this, your main functionality content goes. So whatever you are using, whatever the headings, paragraphs, some other different tags you will be using, so that will help web browsers and search engines to understand that this is the main functionality of the web page. And after this, we are having the footer, so which acts like a footer of your which acts like a bottom line for your web pages. So in this VS Code itself, you can assume these are these four elements. So the top thing, this search bar and this options and this navigation elements, this can be assumed like an header, and the main content, this main can be assumed like this entire part, so where we are having this entire editor. And the footer can be assumed like the bottom toolbar, like we are having with all the line numbers, spaces, so these all go live server. So all this can be taken as a footer of this application. So this is how web pages are also designed, and also every application will be having this uh, divisions like header, main content, and footer. So this is how we design the web pages as well. So footer content. Okay, now, so these are the three root level semantic elements we will be having, and inside the inside main, like we will be using other semantic elements, because like main is the main functionality. So in order to explain the main functionality in a clear way, we will be taking help of other semantic elements. So starting with section. So first we'll be dividing the page into different sections. So we have already seen the use of section HTML semantic element in the previous lectures. So basically first we will be dividing our web page into different sections, like an introductory section or skills section. If you take a portfolio, like if we can divide it like a skills section. Okay, skills section, and we can have other sections like some education section, something like this. So every page contains of different sections, and these sections are the content groups, independent content groups. So basically whatever the elements, whatever the content like you will be having inside this section, so those are grouped by this section, a section element. And this conveys that these are an independent groups, and which is having some related content. Okay, so skills section is independent of education section, so that is the reason like we have created two sections here. And inside skills, like we will be grouping the similar content, like whatever the skills you want to include, like you will be including that as a similar content inside this section. Okay, and inside these sections, so we have already learned that sections should have a mandatory heading tag, so that gives the name for this particular section, because like sections are standalone or independent group, content group. So that is the reason like we need to have a header explaining what is this section about. So we will be having a heading for sure. So if you are using sections in your HTML page, like you should definitely have a heading inside your section. Okay, next, inside this, after this heading, we can define our content. So this is a group, so whatever the content you want to group it, like you will be including that in the section. So basically we will be including the content items. So whatever the content items which are independent or standalone. So standalone content items can be wrapped inside this section. Okay, so standalone items are created using the article element. So this article element is used to define a standalone item, and that all those standalone items are grouped by the section. So inside this article you can use your paragraph tags, and you can write your content inside this, and you can use your heading tags if you are having a side heading. So I'll be using the side heading, and if you want to include any images, you can use that image tag. And also if you want to include some other content, so whatever the content like you want to include, like you can include everything in the article tag, and you can create as many articles as you want. So these act like an independent items, and all these independent items are grouped by a section tag. And also you can make use of div containers as well, so which can group two HTML elements into a single element. So you can use div, and you can wrap that div around two HTML elements or single HTML element, so that like you can add styling to this common element. So these two elements are grouped together, and you can add styling to that container, imaginary container called div, and you can provide styling using this. So here you should not be using section, because like these are not the, this is not the independent content. So basically if you want to provide styling, you can use section or div, but the most appropriate tag here will be div, because like you just want to give the style. For that you don't need to group the content, correct? So that is the reason like we are using this div container here. Okay, so like this we will be creating our sections, and inside section we will be creating articles, and inside articles we will be having our content using div tags, some basic HTML tags and all. So that's how we structure our main content. And also coming to one of the important semantic elements, to understand your image references or your multimedia references, you should be using this semantic element called figure. So basically figure conveys that like you are referencing this resource from different places. So this is an external resource, or like this is a referenced resource in your web page. So you will be wrapping that thing with those elements with a figure, so that your web page clearly understands that how many references you are having in your web page. So basically like if you are referring to some other links, some image links or video links to different sites, you can wrap those references using this figure, and search engines will clearly identify those references when they see this figure HTML semantic element. And you will be having your references basically like images, videos or something like that, audio files, all this. And this figure will have a special thing called fig caption. So this explains like what is this reference about and all. And this also helps search engines to understand, okay, if this image or video is being referenced, so what is this all about. So this caption conveys that this is a image of a mountain, this is a video of some lecture, or this is the audio of some lecture. So we will be explaining that in the fig caption. Okay, yes. And also we can use this header. So basically header is to define a header of this particular content. So if you are defining this header in the global level, so that acts like a global header. And also you can define your own headers for the section as well. So if you want to have a header for your section, you can define a header inside this, and you can create a normal header. So this is not the global header, this is a section header. You can create that headers inside the sections also, and you can create footers inside the section also. So you can include, like this is a section footer, not the global footer. This is a section header, this is a section header. So where you can include, but don't include main. So main is not main cannot be used inside this semantic elements. So there should be only one main, there should be one main, and that should be very unique in your web page. So don't include main. So you can use header and footer inside sections as well. And if you want to have this as a central content, I mean the main content of this section, you can wrap that using the div container. So basically I want to give some container, I want to containerize these elements, so I'm using just div. I'm not again using section here, because this is not a content group. This is just to show it like a container, to make it like a single element. Okay, so there I can use div. So this is how we structure our web pages. Okay, so firstly we are having global header, global main, and global footer. So inside this header we can have logo and global navigation. So how this navigation also can be done is using this nav element. So we missed that. So nav element is used to define your navigation. So it can be a global navigation or it can be a normal navigation. So if you want to have a navigation inside this section, so you can use that also, but using this nav element. So inside this you can say like local navigation. So this will be the global navigation and this can be a local navigation. You can use n number of you can include n number of navigations in your web page, but just wrap that navigation with nav so that your search engines can better understand this is a navigation item, not the simple ordered list. So we have already seen like navigation item, navigation links will be created using ordered list, and we include the list items with anchor tags, right? So we have already seen this thing, correct? So if I want to include home link, so I'll be just linking it to home page and I'll just give the name of that link. So this is how I create, and just wrap that with nav element so that navigation links are created. So this is how we create, we use semantic elements to follow the design standards, so that this can help developers also to understand your HTML code, and also the search engines. So the search engines can also understand your HTML code and better show, and they will be showing your web page in the search engines in a better way if they understand the content in the better way. Okay, so so this is all about the page content. And also one important thing you need to follow is the metadata. So this is also an important part where search engines are involved. So based on this metadata itself, they will be sending the web crawlers and index your web page and all. So for that, like, we are having this meta tag. So in order to declare this metadata, so firstly let's use metadata, and you can see meta colon UTF. So this includes the character set. So we have already seen that. So we will use character set attribute with the value UTF-8. So basically we are saying like the encoding of this HTML file is UTF-8, so that it will not miss out any symbols you are using in your web page. Okay, and next we are having this meta attribute for keywords. So this is one of the most important part. So where you need to include your keywords for your web page, so that whenever someone searches with a specific keyword in the web browser, so if your web page is having that keyword, immediately search engines will be displaying that in the search results. So you need to include those keywords using name and content pair. So name will be keywords, and you need to include all your keywords related to your web page here with the comma separated values. So design standards of HTML, if someone searches design standards of HTML, your web page will be showing up in one of the search results. Okay, so like that you can include as many keywords you want. And next thing is the responsive design. So in order to have a responsive design, we have seen this in the previous lecture, that like you need to include viewport settings with the value whatever you want. Like I want my width of the web page should be taken with the device width, so I'm specifying width of my HTML web page should be taking a device width. So whatever, if it is open in the mobile browsers, it should take the device width. If it is open in the laptop or a personal computer, it should occupy the width of that computer. That's what we are defining here. And we can set the initial scale set to 1.0. so this says like we don't want to zoom it, we don't want to show it in the zoomed way, so we are setting it to no zoom. So this is how we declare our metadata for our HTML web page. Okay, so yeah, this is how we structure. Now let's go ahead and see the other web page standards, and let's learn how to use these developer tools available in every web browser. Okay, so here is the developer.mozilla.org site, so where we are having this as a reference in this course. So let me open the developer tools. So there are two ways of opening this. So I'm using Mac system. So here we can see the develop option where you can see the web inspector. So you can directly open this. So it will be opening a web inspector. So I'm just closing this again. Let me minimize this browser. And there is another shortcut where you can use Control Command I. So this will also open the web inspector. So basically this is the HTML code of the site you are seeing here. And okay, so in order to open this web inspector or developer tools, you can click Control Shift I in Windows, and or else like you can right click. So you can right click on the site, any of the site, and you can see inspect element. So select that. So that will also open this inspector tools. Okay, so I'm using the normal option, web inspector here. So here you can see all the entire code of this web page. So whenever you select any of the part of this code, like it is highlighting which element it is referencing to. Okay, so you can take help of this inspector and you can select this particular part. So this is the heading of the web page. I have selected this top navigation bar. You can see it is selecting the part where this particular element is present in the HTML code. Okay, and you can also see the entire styling of that element. You can see the properties, everything here. So here in this div, like you can see this is having the navigation bar. So this is the top navigation, and inside this we are having nav element where it is having an ordered list, and it is having all the links for the all the navigation links. Okay, so basically this particular part says that I'm having a navigation element in my web page. So this nav directly states that it is having the navigation menu in its web page. So it's clear and intuitive that like it is having the navigation bar. Like we can simply say that using this particular tag. And here if you observe, we are having a header. So this states that it is having a header, like global header. So if, whatever the page like you navigate in this web page, so the global header remains same. So that topic that is shown with this header tag. So this states like I'm having a global header. Okay, inside that I'm having this logo, search, you can see header search, the search bar, and also some other container items and all, and also a navigation menu. Okay, so this is how they have created header tag. And there is a main wrapper inside which they are having a main element. So this is the main content of the website where they are having the central functionality. And inside main content they are using only single article. So they are not using multiple articles, only one article. And inside one article they are having multiple sections. You can see multiple sections in this. So if you open this header, we have already discussed in the sections, in the articles we can use headers, so that act like a local header. So they are using a header and they are wrapping all the heading elements inside that header. So this acts like a header for this article. Okay, and after that we are having multiple sections. So these are the multiple sections, and inside sections you can use this interchangeably. Sections inside articles, articles inside sections, you can use it interchangeably. So only thing is like clearly communicate that like you are creating a content group or standalone content item and all. Okay, so that's the main goal. Okay, and inside this section like we are having this heading. So section should definitely have the heading tag. So you can see each and every section is having the heading tag, and inside that we are having this content wrapped with a div container, and we are having those multiple times. You can see this in this web page. So like this, like you can inspect each and every element in other web pages. You can see the styling. For suppose if I want to see like how this menu is been implemented, you can select that, and you can see this is the container, but this is just HTML, but we are not applying any styles. All the styles can be seen on the right side. Okay, so here you can see the top navigation bar is having this particular styling. Okay, so if I remove one styling, so the web page automatically changes. So if you see this, let me remove it. Okay, so these are the top priority styles. So let me remove this. So you can see this particular elements are getting changed. So gap, I'm removing flex row, and I'm removing display flex. So you can see how this web page is getting changed if I'm changing the styles. So you are not affecting the code you are not affecting the main code. You are just visualizing that in your local system, local browser. That's it. So if you refresh your browser again, the styles will be coming in the same way like how it is, and you are just interacting with the browser using this web inspector, and you are just checking the structure, the styling, the way they have architected this. So all these things can be seen using this web inspector. And also at the bottom, like you can see, so you can see this is the footer, and let me go ahead and see like how they have implemented the footer. So okay, so you can see this is the footer of the web page. So let me decrease this. Okay, so you can see the footer, and in the footer content, like we are having so many divs and and we are having so many links. So here you can see it is having a unordered list, but these are not the navigation links. Okay, so that is the reason like we are not having a nav here. So this will just whenever these icons are clicked, like this will be redirecting it to some other page, but those are not the main links of the web page. Okay, I mean those are the links to other parts but not in the same part. So that is the reason like nav is not included here. So you should be analyzing that if you are having a link as a navigation link, means in between your web pages, so you create it like a navigation bar using a nav semantic element. But if you are referencing to other web page and you don't want to come back again, then you can simply reference it using a anchor tag, and you can simply redirect the user to that particular web page directly. Okay, so that's how we structure HTML web pages and all. Okay, and make use of this web inspector. Try to understand how other web pages are being implemented, try to play around with this and check how these stylings have been applied. So we'll be discussing more about this when we come to CSS, but try to understand how these HTML structures have been maintained, how when they are using divs, when they are using section, how they are using different tags and all. And coming to the metadata, so you can see it is having so much of metadata inside head. So let me go ahead and explain like what are these meta tags. So in this meta tag, the first tag is for character encoding. So we are having this character set, we have also included in our example. And after that we are having this viewport, so this conveys like the responsive design, we are looking for the responsive design. And just forget about these links, so we'll be discussing that in the CSS and JS lectures. And after that we are having this meta tag again. Here we are having all these meta elements. So starting with robots, so the name robots and content index comma follow. So basically web search engines, this send a web crawlers on your web page. So basically they index all the content in your web page and try to understand what your content is all about. So if you are using a correct semantic element, so you will be able to convey what is the main functionality of your website. So in order to do that, the web crawlers and all the robots will be indexing your web page, and follow says like they will be following the regular updates. If you are making any updates, they will be checking what updates you have done, and they will be understanding that updates as well. So this metadata will be enabling robots to index and follow your web page. If you don't include, so those are blocked. Okay, if you don't want to have all the robots in your web page, so you don't need to include this. So those, in that way, like those will be blocked. And here we are conveying the name as a description, so we are describing what is the is website about, so that like that will clearly understand what is your website about. So these are all the different ways how we set different different meta tags to make your to make web search engines or screen readers to understand your web data. Okay, so these are some other properties like open graph URL. So whenever this particular URL has been shared, so what should be the URL, complete URL, what should be the title, what should be the type, what should be the description, what should be the image. So if you are sharing this across different sites, so that URL will be resolved into some image with a description and all. Did you observe that? So in order to control those kind of settings, like we are using this open graph description, open graph type, local, image and all. So these are some additional settings which will be communicating with different other applications. Okay, so all that will be added as a meta tag, and you can if you want, like you can also add it in your web pages. But the three important settings are character encoding, viewport, and this uh, keywords. So basically, like they have eliminated the keywords, and they are using multiple tags. So if you want to have these also, like you can include. Okay. Okay, so that's the end of the lecture. So play around with the web inspector, and I hope like your projects also will be having this semantic elements, and you will be following the HTML design standards. Okay, so that's the end of the lecture. Thank you. Bye bye.